Okay, y'all, this is a kind of a keep going from 1.3, so we're still talking about function notation, but this is all based on the calculator. So let's do a little bit review first. So this is my function notation, and what this says is, what we're looking for here is what is the y value when x equals 0. So this is my f of x. So if I plug that in, I would have 0 squared plus 2 times 0, which is 0. So this whole thing here is 0. If I plug in negative 1, f of negative 1, I would have negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1. Right? So this becomes positive, and this becomes negative. So this whole thing here is negative 1. All right? What happens with f of 3? So I would have 3 squared plus 2 times 3. So 9 plus 6, which is 15. All right, so what happens when these get more challenging? So the above values are easy to substitute into the equation and simplify without a calculator. However, what if we wanted to find this or this? Now we're dealing with a decimal, we're going to have to square it, it's negative, this is just a ginormous number, it's going to be harder. So we can do this on the calculator, and the calculator can calculate all of this for us. So grab your calculator, let's do this together. Here are all the rules, but I'm going to walk through this with you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put this function into our calculator. So to do that, when we plug this in, we want to do a couple of different things that we have here. And so we're going to put this into the calculator as y1. And so normally when we use this y of x right here, we're using this for graphing. But we can plug this in using this equation right here. So from this, I'm going to have 4x cubed minus 7x squared plus 10x minus 50. So I just type that in just like normal, like I would right here. Okay, now I'm going to get out of this. So to get out of this, I'm going to hit second mode, and second mode is quit. So second mode, so now I've gotten out of it. So I can go back into y equals, and it's going to save it until I delete it. Okay, so it's right there. But now what we want to do is say, okay, we're going to take this function of y, and we're going to plug in a number. So from your home screen, what you're going to do is you're going to hit alpha, which is the green button, and then trace. And it brings up this little grid of y's. And these are the same y's that you get here. These are all the same y's. So I go to alpha trace, actually hold on, let me get out of that. Alpha trace, and we plugged in our equation into y1. And now we want to tell it here, we want to evaluate this when x equals 5. So parentheses 5, and we hit enter, and we should get this number, 325. Okay, so now what this says is we're going to do this again by just plugging in these different numbers. So I would hit alpha trace. This time I'm going to hit -7. Now when you hit the negative, we're using this negative button. We're not using a subtraction, we're using negative. So -7, and we hit enter on that guy, and we get -1835. Now I could do it again, and I could do alpha trace and y and put it in. In fact, let me do it since I'm here. Put in 15, that's the next one. And I get this number of 12,025. Now, because I've already got this started and I'm using the same y, I can just use my arrow and arrow up to this guy and hit enter. And then I can go over here and change it to 5.92. So whatever's easiest for you, it's going to plug it into the same thing. And when I hit enter on this, I get 593.774. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to round to 3 decimal places. So we're not going to use sig figs like you do in your science classes. We're just going to round to 3 decimal places. This is what we do in most of the AP math classes, so we'll just start this early. Okay, so a couple of important things. So function notation, that's what this is. Function notation uses parentheses. All right, so we have to use the parentheses to find the solution, and don't forget you can arrow up to capture in a case like this where it's all the same function. All right, that's it for the day. Super fast.